Like a tune-up game, Rutgers knows that is not the case as the reigning MAC champions come to town.
And with how much of that is at stake, we go downstairs. Caroline Hendershot on the sidelines. Caroline?
Jason, Brock just said it best when we were talking to head coach Greg Schiano yesterday. He was really candid with us and saying Ohio is not an ideal first week one matchup for his team. Not only did they go 11-3 last year, they also were the Mid-American Conference champions. So this team is really successful. It was led by Parker Navarro, which you guys talked about. He is elusive, Schiano said. He's effective with spreading out a defense, and he is the biggest threat on their offense. So this Ohio team is experienced and they know how to play. They are well coached. So Jason, as you're aware, tonight's game will not be a walk in the park for either side of the ball.
No question about that, and they are excited to see what this is going to bring coming off the winning season. It has been hot and muggy all summer long here in the Garden State. That is not the case as we look at the weather here late in August. You could not ask for a prettier end of the month, start of the college football season. Not a lot of wind, not that hot. All those things with cramps to start, Brock. Maybe that doesn't play a role tonight.
This could be perfect for them. Well, first off, with how much rain and thunderstorms and all that going on here on the East Coast, I was fearing the worst. But the football gods know for week one, we got to open those skies as it is time to get this season going for the Big Ten.
Ohio won the toss, elected to defer. So the Bobcats and their brand new kicker, the transfer from UCLA, David Dellenbach, will tee this thing up. He has not kicked a college football anything in an actual game, and that changes here on this Thursday night. Scarlet Knights notoriously do not return kickoffs. Only 3 of them last year. They do have a dynamic return man in Ben Black. Ohio kicks it off, fireworks in the air. It's a short kickoff and a fair catch called for, which will bring us out to the 25-yard line for the Scarlet Knights. And their quarterback tonight making his 31st career start, Ethan Kaliak-Manis. They want his completion percentage up, only 54% last year, but man, did he take care of the football last season.
And that completion percentage is in direct correlation with their success as a team. Greater than 50%, 7-2 last year. Equal or less than 50% completions, 0-4. A lot rides on number 16's shoulders.
Scarlet Knights' new tailback, replacing Kyle Monungai, second most in school history. Antoine Raymond first in the backfield. It's a completion on the first toss to Ian Strong. He picks up 12 out to the 37. And a first down for the Scarlet Knights and their new starting lineup. Most of the offensive line returns the same, but Dante Chin getting the start at left tackle, mostly inside, but he's getting the start in a hotly contested left side of the line.
And you were not going to find a more athletic offensive tackle in all of college football. Boy, you talk about footwork.
Inside, they run it, and Raymond is explosive. He tries to bulldoze Michael Mack, the corner, and he carries him for about 7 yards. Antoine Raymond, sophomore, after 8 touchdowns last season for Greg Schiano. They ran the football, 3rd best in the conference last year at 175 yards a game.
And this is now the post-Kyle Monungai era. He was the bell cow for the past 2 years. As we sit here right now, Rutgers is going with a 3 running back rotation, but they are looking to find 1 running back to separate from the bunch.
This is the new tight end, Colin Weber, in motion. Another handoff for Raymond. He does have the first down and takes it across midfield. Adonis Williams Jr., one of the captains in the secondary, coming up to make the stop. Ohio's defense last year as good as anybody in the conference, 18 points allowed, but their front is completely new. All 6 starters were not starters last year. They're going to rely on the back end, including Tate Pearson, who led them with 4 picks last year.
A true boundary corner, absolute lockdown. He is on the Thorpe watch list. That goes to the best DB in the nation.
John Hauser, their defensive coordinator, he stuck around. Tim Albin was the coach last year. He is now the head coach at Charlotte. Kaliak-Manis back to the air. That is the transfer. DT Sheffield could not hang on. but they are looking for their new explosive receiver. Damier Miller came in last year, led the team in receiving in his final year, and this year they're thinking Sheffield can take off.
And you can see the frustration as he goes to the sideline. This Rutgers fan base has been hearing about this lightning bolt from North Texas and what he can do. That's not the best first impression, but he will make up for that before game's end.
Sheffield last year, first team All-American Athletic Conference, 68 grabs, over 800 yards. Elliot Manis with play action and pressure, and he's sacked from behind. Ohio got in there quickly. Jay Crable got the sack, and they were concerned about that. They lost almost all of their sack production from a year ago.
Antoine Raymond doing everything he can in the blitz protection, but Jay Crable is able to get through. That play was only successful for Ohio because of cornerback Tank Pearson. Athan was looking for KJ Duff downfield. Number 7 was all over him.
First career sack for the redshirt sophomore for the Bobcats. And it is now 3rd down and 15 for the Scarlet Knights. Jay-Sean Benjamin into the backfield. Certainly can be dynamic. Redshirted a year ago, played in 4 games. Kaliak Manis dumps it short. Has to get to the Bobcats 40. Ian Strong broke a couple tackles. And Brock, he picked up enough yards to make it 4th and about 2. And think about it here in Ohio territory.
And I see them going for it. What you're going to see here is just a simple clear out route. Everyone run off your man out of their zone, and I'm going to give it to the guy underneath, who is Ian Strong, and his offense is staying on the field. The downhill back, Antoine Raymond, checks back into the game.
So Greg Schiano and his offensive coordinator, Kirk Sharrock, are rolling the dice early. In Ohio territory last year, Rutgers 13 of 28 on 4th down. 4th and manageable. They need to get it just across the 40-yard line for a first. Bobcats bring 4. Open receiver, Sheffield with the broken tackle, and he picks up the first down. He didn't have it on the initial grab, but the second move picked up enough to move the chains.
And the funny thing is this is the same exact route combination from just a few plays ago where he dropped the ball. Ohio sticking in this man coverage. Okay, we're going to run a little pick route to the outside, get it to our speedy number 0, and you hear that crowd uproar. That is what they were hearing about, all about from North Texas. Now he's doing it in a Rutgers uniform.
And that's the sudden change of movement, the quickness that he has, not just straightaway speed. Kaliak Manis so far in this ball game, 3 of 4. Early on this drive, first one of the season. To the air again, Sheffield again, and another first down. And DT Sheffield, one of our impact players, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense. Transfers for the offense. They are looking at both Sheffield and CJ Campbell from FAU.
We've seen DT Sheffield already. CJ Campbell, the transfer from FAU. He is a downhill runner as well. But look out for Ohio Bobcat strong safety DJ Walker. The Swiss Army knife is what defensive coordinator John Hauser calls him. 9th
play of the opening drive of the season. More than 4 minutes gone by here in this first quarter. Kaliak Manis is at pinpoint accuracy. There's the handoff in the first carry for CJ Campbell. First 3 years at Florida State, last year at FAU with the Owls, over 800 yards. They like the downhill running, what Kyle Monungai brought.
And another thing that Kyle Monungai brought is never putting that ball on the turf. Exactly what you get with CJ Campbell. Never lost a fumble.
So fast, Campbell again. He's inside the 15. Against an Ohio defense, Brock, last year they gave up 92 yards a game on the ground, #1 in the MAC. And they were top 5 in the country against the run. 3rd down and 2. Kaliak Manis kept it, and he throws it away out of the back of the end zone. A man right in his face again. And so Rutgers went for it. 4th down earlier this drive around midfield. Here on 4th down and 3, you've got a reliable kicker in Jay Patel, but they are keeping the offense on the field again.
And I would not be shocked if this ball stays on the ground. They're testing Athan's arm, and I understand why they're doing that, but at the end of the day, they are getting 3 yards push at the line of scrimmage at every single snap. Don't be shocked if that ball goes to Antoine Raymond's hands here.
And was the starter on this drive. We have seen all 3 tailbacks on this opening drive. On 4th down, huge play. Raymond breaks a tackle into the secondary. Touchdown, Rutgers. On 4th down, Antoine Raymond in the end zone. What a statement on the opening drive of the season.
You return 4 of 5 offensive linemen up front. What better way to start the season than reminding everyone we have experience up front, we have size, and boy, do we have push.
Greg Schiano was aggressive on a more than 5-minute opening drive with Jay Patel on to try the extra point. He tacks it up and through. A statement for the Scarlet Knights to open the game.
Antoine Raymond. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights are looking for a replacement for Cal Monungai. Looks like it is the Antoine Raymond era.
Back with a vengeance, and Rutgers picked up right where it left off last year. The offense, as Brock Vereen said, was on a heater to finish November and into the bowl game. And well, a 12-play, 75-yard drive capped off by an Antoine Raymond 14-yard, 4th and 3 touchdown.
I call that Rutgers football. I call that Kirk Ciarrocca football. It is downhill. It is moving forward.
Iman Dennis back deep to receive for the Bobcats, the former Michigan Wolverine. He did have a kickoff return last year for a touchdown. Dangerous return man. Jack Scullion's not going to let that one get in his hands, but he also did not get it to the end zone. And so good field position coming up for the Bobcats. So Ohio will have, and we do have a player down for Rutgers.
It's going to be,
that is Noah Shaw.
Grabbing on
free kick
that,
out of bounds.
That knee, which
kicking
is never
team. The
something
ball will
that
be
you want
placed
to
at
see.
the 35-yard line. First down.
Visibly in distress, the sophomore defensive back from North Carolina. So Brian Smith will have to wait a moment to get Parker Navarro and the offense on the field. As the training staff looks at Shaw's legs, and they're going to try to looking at his left knee on the field.
Of course, it's the last thing you ever want to see, but it being his first time out there, week 1, running down there on kickoff, your heart is with him right now.
And he was in visible distress as soon as, you saw him pounding the turf. Take a look at the right part of your screen running down on the kickoff. He is the back of that kickoff team.
And a lot of times that ill-timed contact, right, that force that stops your momentum just before a foot gets planted into the ground.
All right, Greg Schiano is out with the training staff as they attend to the sophomore. We will step aside. Early here in the first quarter, Noah Shaw down on the field. Noah Shaw helped off the field for the Scarlet Knights, running down on kickoff coverage. Sophomore defensive back only played 1 game last year, was the bowl game. That his first time on the field here at 2025, and an injury could not really put any weight on his left leg as they walked across the field with help.
Heart goes out to him.
So Parker Navarro and the Bobcats have to answer a 12-play drive and a handoff to start things off. C.A. Bangura, the former Minnesota Gopher by way of Ohio. For Parker Navarro, one of 5 quarterbacks last year with 1,000 yards rushing, and he's the first in Ohio history who also had 2,000 yards passing in the same season.
The only way to describe his running ability is prolific. There are not many quarterbacks in football who can do what he does when he decides to run it.
And his college career at UCF, now in his 4th year in Athens, Ohio. That is Chase Hendricks in motion. Navarro floats it out to Hendricks, gets a couple of blocks in space, and Hendricks out near midfield. He picks up about 16. For Brian Smith, in his first year as the head coach for the Bobcats, has been the offensive coordinator, and he is still calling the plays here. Now he's the head man.
When you have an offense that was as successful as they were a year ago, why change anything? And you see there really a version of the RPO. They have so many ways to run, only 5 or 6 different concepts, but they work.
C.A. Ben-Gura is the running back, near 2,000 yards at Ohio. Last year was at Minnesota, not a ton of playing time, and he's back with the Bobcats. Navarro out on the run. Hendricks again, and he's inside the 40. Kaj Sanders, in his second year as a starter at safety, made the tackle, but back-to-back throws to Chase Hendricks for the Ohio starters. Now, their offensive line's a little bit different. They do like their skill players, and he's the leader of that on the outside.
Chase Hendricks is moving into the slot. He can be on the outside. He can do everything. He will for sure be the go-to guy when Parker Navarro looks downfield.
Joe Darte, not a ton of action last year. He moves in as well. They're at number 3 for the visitors in the white. Gura on the ground into the middle of that defense. Moses Walker there on the stop. Now that's Moses Walker. Meanwhile, Jordan Walker, former walk-on, now captain. Part of this new look defensive line for the Scarlet Knights. He's not, a lot of the inside is.
Came into the program as a tight end walk-on, like you said, and worked his way up to captain. He's an anchor out there on the bottom.
And a lot of new in the back, too. The transfers, Cam Miller, Jet Elad. Part of that secondary. That is off Navarro's hands on 2nd and 8. Scramble drill. And he smartly throws that well into the bench. Jordan Walker, who had 4 sacks last year with Rutgers, was given chase.
The most returning sacks for any player who was in Rutgers Scarlet a year ago. Parker Navarro, why he doesn't panic, but why he has nowhere to go initially is because all the receivers were expecting a run play. Finally, a wide receiver wakes up and kind of fakes like he's running a route, so it wasn't a penalty. A heads-up play that started off as a disaster.
An interesting spot here, too. You got a kicker who has never attempted a college field goal. From here, it will be 54 yards. We'll see what they do on 3rd down. Scarlet Knights bring a blitz over the middle into coverage, and it is caught. Tough grab, Chase Hendricks. Now it is just beyond the sticks. He picks up a 1st down.
I have no idea how we caught this football. Look at Cam Miller all over him. It bounces off of his knee, up into his forearm, and then into his chest. Cam Miller saying, I don't know what else I can do there.
The Penn State transfer, part of the Nittany Lions defense, made it to the semis of the college football playoff. Starting here at Rutgers with great coverage, but it is a 1st down for Ohio. Solid answer here for the Bobcats, responding to the Rutgers opening touchdown drive. Banker, oh, that was an almost disaster. And Navarro wrapped up in the backfield. Coming up to make the tackle, a solid job, Jet Elad.
Some mishandling here. C.A. Ben-Gura definitely did not think he was getting the ball. Navarro was trying to give it, but the ball doesn't go on the ground, and thanks to Jet Elad, Navarro was not able to escape to the outside.
So they've had the high snap from their new center, Nick Marinaro. They've had the near exchange miss. It is the 8th play of the Bobcats drive in a fast-moving 1st quarter. Ben-Gura trying to get to the outside. There's the speed inside the 10, and a touchdown-saving tackle by Bo Masco. But Ben-Gura down to the 2-yard line on a 26-yard scamper.
And he's able to get to the outside because of wide receiver Maxwell Darte. Look at number 3, boom, laying a defender on his back. There was no one there to set the edge, and Ben-Gura is able to get to the outside and nearly into the end zone.
Now, Ohio was trying to go fast. Oliver Billett, his shoe came off. He was back behind the play. And so they are looking at the transfer from Kent State, who was a starter for the Golden Flashes the last 2 years. Well, you talked about it. It's an Ohio offense. Yes, their defense might be new, but much of the offense returns from last year's MAC champions, and they have converted 3rd downs, and Parker Navarro and this offense have moved right down the field.
And here's what this offense is under offensive coordinator Scott Isfording. Yes, it's a spread offense, but it is smash mouth downhill football. The wide receivers way out to the outside by the numbers. It's to make the defense declare. They have to, as a linebacker or a nickel, you have to decide, am I playing in the box? Am I playing outside? Whichever one I pick, the play is going to go where I'm not, and that's why you see so much open space for these plays so far.
Well, it looks like he's fine. Shoe is tied. I would also like someone to come out and tie my shoes.
That would be great.
My family always wonders why they are never tied. They are tied now, though, up here in the booth. Surprisingly.
For now.
Definitely not by the second quarter. So the Scarlet Knights at a 5-minute, 8-second opening drive. Converted a 4th and 3 on an Antoine Raymond 14-yard touchdown. The Bobcats have answered with a 4-minute drive, and it's 1st and goal. They spotted it back at the 4.
When the Bobcats get to the red zone, your ears have to go up as a defense. This is where Parker Navarro wants the football. QB runs are at a premium when the Bobcats get to the red zone.
72% touchdown last year in the red zone with an experienced quarterback. Bangura is gobbled up. Jabome in the middle of that with Kaj Sanders, maybe one, as we take a look at our impact players sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense. We've seen Bangura with the run, and on defense, Jabome with his 105 tackles last year.
And he's off to a great start already to double that 105 tackle number based off what we've seen so far. Kent Miller, the transfer from Penn State at the nickel position.
Bangura had 22 touchdowns in his 2 years as the starter with Ohio. Navarro to the outside. What a grab! And touchdown! Mason Williams around his shoestrings, and the tight end turned around and found his way into the end zone. A 4-yard touchdown grab for their tight end, and they're an extra point away from tying it up.
It may not seem like it, but to be able to stop on a dime, catch that football, and roll in is one of the more athletic things you will see this entire weekend. 6'5", 260, stop on a dime, catch the football, and finish it off.
The tight end, one of the highlighted players when we met with Greg Schiano yesterday, said he is a guy that looks like a Big Ten tight end. David Dellenbach's first career college extra point is good. And we are tied. The defending MAC champions with an answer for Greg Schiano's Scarlet Knights here in the opener of the Big Ten season here on Big Ten Network. Country night here at the Boardwalk. Pre-game festivities outside SHI Stadium. Everyone loves a good Cotton Eye Joe. I mean, they're inside the stadium, outside the stadium. Saturday night, Tuesday night. Who doesn't like good Cotton Eye Joe? Jason Horwitz, Brock Vereen, Caroline Hendershot down on the field. Students return to campus this week. Getting going here. Classes begin after Labor Day. On a beautiful Thursday night, Ben Black back deep to receive for Rutgers. We have seen two great offensive drives. It is a squib kick. Forces Rutgers to return it from the 15-yard line. And Jason Benjamin turned the corner, and it backfires against Ohio. They know that they are not a team that's going to return a lot of kickoffs, but a solid return of 25 yards. Well, right now, the first 1,000 fans will get $20 off a Big Ten Plus annual pass and get access to over 2,700 more events across the Big Ten this season. Scan the QR code on the screen. Go to BigTenPlus.com. Make sure you enter 20 off when selecting an annual pass at checkout. Take advantage of that great offer. And there is so much content, not just Big Ten Network, on Big Ten Plus. You are not going to want to miss that from the start of the football season all the way through the end of the spring sports season as well. 27 yards on the return from Benjamin, so great field position. Ohio comes with a blitz to the outside. K.J. Duff, his first grab of his sophomore season, and Ethan Kaliakmanis has picked up that rhythm from where he left off last year.
He certainly has, and it all comes with chemistry. Last year, it took a while. He transferred into the spring. He was in a quarterback battle, so he didn't get a starter's worth of reps until late into training camp. But it is clear that this is what an entire offseason of working together looks like. He's right on time.
He and Ian Strong, roommates, good friends, same high school, played at St. Anthony's. He's got a couple of inches on his junior receiver on the other side, but those guys push each other all off season. Caliac managed great protection again, just high. Kenny Fletcher almost caught it on the deflection. Jack Freeze, the new starting linebacker, hit him right in the back. And it'll be 2nd and 10.
Jack Freeze was the talk of training camp in Athens, Ohio. There was a steep linebacker competition. He has special teams experience from a year ago. Some guys transferred out. He had an opportunity to grab a starting role, and here he is.
Having to replace both of their starting linebackers, their entire front six. They almost always play with 5 or 6 defensive backs, or they call it their starting 6. But not a single guy on that front started more than 1 game last year. On 2nd and 10, again to the air. Caliac Manis to KJ Duff. And a solid tackle, DJ Walker, the all-MAC safety. The redshirt sophomore, but Duff's got 2 catches, and it's 3rd down and short.
And it was similar to the long 3rd down that they had on the first series. Ohio's trying to bring pressure, but as long as the Rutgers front can hold up and pick up their man, and Ethan has time, that clear-out route is always going to be there.
Now the completion percentage for Ethan Caliac Manis here in the first quarter, right? 54% last year. He is 6 of 9 to start this game, and a drop was in there too. Ohio shows blitz. They come with 5. Caliac Manis dances out, dives forward, and he's going to be short. He missed it by about a yard, but remember, Rutgers went for it on 4th and 3, right around the same spot on their opening drive.
They're going to go for it here as well and expect the ball to be on the ground like it was the previous time that they had a 4th down. Ethan is a sneaky athlete, big, long guy. He can throw the ball a mile, but you forget his ability to run the football. And again, this goes back to the Rutgers offensive line and the push they've been getting all first quarter. Do not be shocked if this ball goes on the ground.
Is C.J. Campbell with Caliac Manis in the backfield with Weber in motion. It is on the ground, and they've got a 1st down. Rutgers 3 for 3 on 4th down here in the first quarter of the season.
And until this Ohio defensive front can prove that they can be a little more stout, Rutgers is just going to take this automatic 3-yard gain that they keep getting. All 3 of these running backs are downhill guys. You give them 2 or 3 yards of room untouched, they're going to make the most of it.
Drive that began on the 41. They're in Patel's range already with 1st down. Caliac Manis takes a shot. Duff the man inside the 15. Stays in bounds, and he's near the 10-yard line. Nifty footwork in front of Michael Mack II, and this becoming the KJ Duff Jr. drive.
Ethan Caliac Manis threw that football before KJ Duff even considered breaking out of that route. That is the chemistry we were talking about. They keep trusting their cornerbacks in one-on-one coverage, and right now Ethan is making them pay.
And again, think how different this looks than this offense 2 years ago. When Rutgers was 4-8, the team struggled to score 17 points a game. That in 2022, and it has completely changed as time has gone on.
The runner stepped out of bounds at the 16-yard line. It's 1st and 10 from the 16.
Mark Kluzinski, our official here tonight.
KJ Duff is going to try and tightrope the sideline here, and that left foot, the toe does go out of bounds. He's 6'6", that's a big foot.
Yep. Back to the ground with a burst, and C.J. Campbell gets downhill, and he picks up 1st down. 1st and goal, Rutgers, as we approach a minute to go in the first quarter.
Jake Crable, the jack position, read that perfectly. He met C.J. Campbell at the line of scrimmage. C.J. just low to the ground, 210 pounds, able to fall forward.
128 yards of offense in the quarter. Caliac Manis hit, and so too is Campbell. Brought down Jalen Thomason, the nickel back, made the stop. Scarlet Knights will have to snap it at least 1 more time here in the first quarter. The play clock, a couple of seconds ahead of the game clock here as we hit the end of the first.
They take a receiver off the field. They bring in a tight end, Kenny Fletcher Jr. Out there also with Colin Weber, 12 personnel. They love their tight ends here at Rutgers.
Both lined up to the left side of the formation. Weber, the motion man, on the ground. Raymond is bottled up in the backfield. Casey Seegers, first to break through the line. Pius Ojugo also there, which will bring us to the end of the first quarter. Football is back, and man, is it entertaining. Summer's over, at least in terms of school. Second quarter coming up. Back in Piscataway, Jason Horwitz, Brock Vereen upstairs. Caroline Hendershot downstairs with Greg Schiano.
Coach, over 128 yards of offense in this first quarter. How do you keep your foot on the gas in the second quarter?
That's just what we do. We're not going to. When it's good, it's good. You just keep going. When it's not good, you got to keep going. That's what chopping is. So we just got to keep going.
How does the defense get a stop on this next drive?
Yeah, I mean, we had some opportunities there, and we just, we missed the tackle. We got to take advantage of the opportunities when they come.
Thank you so much, Coach.
All right, thank you.
We'll see that defense, but the offense has been on fire. Fourth highest points per game last season in program history. Callie McManus pumped it, runs it, back in the end zone, and sailed it too high. KJ Duff, 3 grabs on the drive. That one too high, and it'll be 4th down and goal coming up.
Offense is remaining on the field. Nathan wants it, but nope. Loses the battle with his head coach. And this is a pretty important kick here for one Jay Patel.
It is a big kick for Jay Patel as they bring him on. He finished last year 13 consecutive makes. If Patel hits from 18 yards, he will break the school record for most consecutive in Rutgers history. Snap is there, hold is down, kick is up, and Jay Patel with the most consecutive makes at Rutgers. His 14th straight carrying over from last year. And the Scarlet Knights cap it off with a Patel 3. And Rutgers has a 10-7 lead over Ohio. 8 seconds into the second quarter in front of Greg Schiano in year 17. Saturday, it's a huge slate of action featuring Purdue, Maryland, 7th-ranked Oregon, USC, and Washington. All coming up only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. It starts here tonight on the East Coast and goes to the West Coast for a second year here in the conference.
Let me give you a name the entire country will know by the end of the year, and that is Washington quarterback Devon Williams. Look out.
Now, last year they gave him some opportunities with Will Rogers. They wanted to get him on the field, and now it's his job.
He is special.
So Dennis called for the fair catch. So Parker Navarro, speaking of special, a lot of good decisions and a touchdown pass on the opening drive for the Bobcats, down 10-7 early in the second quarter.
And the decision-making was the biggest difference last year from their slow start to their electric finish. They had to simplify the offense, not in a way that he wasn't capable of learning it. They just weren't utilizing it best. He is an athlete. Dumb things down for the better. Let him have the freedom to run the football whenever he wishes, and that's how you go on a massive win streak to end out the year and win the match.
7 in a row. They began the year 4-3. And before the snap, timeout taken.
Before the ball was snapped, timeout, Ohio, their first of the half.
All right, so despite the great rhythm we had in the first quarter, choppier here 8 seconds into the second quarter. But, the transition, too, for a new head coach, Brian Smith, he wanted to keep the play-calling responsibilities because he wants and likes the continuity with his quarterback.
And it certainly showed. And to his credit, and offensive coordinator Scott Isfreding's credit, they said it was on us. We were not putting him in the best position to succeed. We changed ourselves so that he could change himself. And boy, was Parker Navarro off to the races and not looking back after that.
Running on the inside. And, for Ohio, they are running against a defense here that has one of their former stars on the other side. That is Bradley Weaver. He was the MAC championship game Defensive Player of the Year. 15 tackles for loss last year, over 28 for his career. Transfers to Rutgers and going against the offensive line he practiced against for the last 4 years. Couple of yards on first down. Again, it's off the hands. Navarro scramble again. Being chased, kept his wits and throws it outside. Hendricks could not get his hands on it. You know, you mentioned the poise, Brock, that he has, and that's the second time they've had that issue.
And unfortunately, he has to keep showing that poise. They have to figure this out. The first one was on the center. The snap was too high. This one was on him. There was also an issue at the mesh point between him and C.A. Bangura. It's the fundamentals. These are things from day one of spring ball.
He has to keep pace because at this point, it has not seemed like their defense can stop the Scarlet Knights. What could become a massive offensive effort here at SHI Stadium. 3rd and long. Pocket holds. Navarro. Deep shot down the field and well over the head of Hendricks. He was looking for a flag against Cam Miller. Nothing coming. And the Rutgers defense forces a 3 and out.
Cam Miller has been taking care of Chase Hendricks one-on-one with minimal help all day long. Now he does have safety help over top here, but he doesn't need it. And I understand Chase Hendricks' issue there, a little grabby, but I do like the referee keeping the flag there.
Agnes Haynes on the way. It is not a deep punt. DT Sheffield lets it bounce in front, and Ohio downs it at the 46-yard line. A punt of 27 yards, and Rutgers with great field position. Fans enjoyed the pregame, and the Scarlet Knights, they're watching them have the lead here in the second quarter. (10-7) Rutgers leading Ohio, about a minute here into the second quarter. Scarlet Knights have scored on both of their first 2 drives. Our coaching profile sponsored by Discover. Greg Schiano returned to the Banks in 2020. Offense hit rock bottom 2022, 17 points a game. It has changed the last couple of years. A bowl win in 23 over Miami, another bowl appearance last year. And while the defense took a step back last year, the offense is propelled forward with Caliac Manis, who takes the shot. Open man, down the field. DT Sheffield in stride. Touchdown. 54 yards. Welcome to Rutgers. One play and a home run from Caliac Manis.
Ohio has been trusting their man coverage and using DT Sheffield. They have been playing so many games. And right there is just a blown coverage. Fantastic route concept, but no. There you see a DB, Adonis Williams Jr., passing off a receiver to no one.
Remember, that's the part of the defense that Ohio felt confident in. Low snap, nicely put down. Solid job for Rutgers. Riley McCann put it down, and Patel knocked it through.
DT Sheffield. We've heard all about him. Now he's showing us.
(17-7), Ethan Caliac Manis with a pair of first-half touchdowns early in the second quarter. Jason Horwitz, Brock Vereen, Caroline Hendershot on the field. Kirk Shiraka in his 3rd year back at Rutgers in his 2nd stint as the offensive coordinator. And, you know, talking to Greg Schiano yesterday about what has changed for Shiraka from when they were here in 08 to 2010. Greg said it didn't go well at the end there. We had to part ways, but he is so comfortable with himself as a play caller and what he stands for, and it's bearing fruit.
His system is not complicated, but it's complex. And when you get a quarterback, the perfect quarterback for that system, and Ethan Caliac Manis for your 3rd year together, you get the fireworks that we've seen thus far.
An opening drive touchdown, a second drive field goal, and a 54-yard strike. And now Parker Navarro has to respond. And, you know, you and I were talking about this during the break. Navarro's a quarterback that ran for over 1,000 yards last year. They have not had a design run for him just yet.
Which is surprising. And it's when this offense is at their best. You cannot fall into much more of a hole than you're already in, the way that your defense is not holding up. They may need to trust him to run the football here.
Get him on the outside, do some plays, and they do that with the pump, and he just dumps it out of bounds. Rutgers played that brilliantly. He's got a new center, a transfer, and for more on Nick Marinaro, downstairs to Caroline.
Jason, Nick Marinaro, like you were just saying, transferred here from Dartmouth after 3 years there, but he has ties to the Big Ten with his family. His uncle, Joe Marinaro, was a 3-year starter and co-captain for the University of Michigan in 1995.
Caroline, those defenses for the Wolverines. He was captain. Jarrett Irons, Rob Sweat.
Names right there.
Rob Renis, the all-names team of the mid-90s for the Wolverines. Open man, and Navarro on time to Max Rodarte. And they need to find that second receiver opposite Chase Hendricks. Rodarte could be that guy.
And what happens here is safety Jet Elad has to cover that outside third. You see the cornerback blitz, but Parker Navarro also saw it, so he knew exactly where to go with the football, and they put the safety in a very tough position there.
Ian Pugh is on the field as a receiver, bottom of the screen. It's a run play. Bangura bottled up and swung down. Zaire Ngoy, one of the returners on the defensive front. They're going to rotate a bunch of tackles, and he made the stop after a yard pickup.
And Ohio may need to abandon trying to do anything between the tackles right now. Unless it's a quarterback power or something where you can get an extra blocker, man for man, they're just not getting any kind of push right now.
Caroline talking about Marinaro in the middle, the right side of the line. Transfers, guys that Jordan Jones saw some time last year, but only started 2 games. You try the middle again. Bangura banged around out near the 40. Picked up about 3. Now, he did have the big run on their opening drive. They bounced it outside. He picked up 24. But this is about 3rd and 7 coming up here for the Bobcats.
And you should expect the scenario where Parker Navarro can tuck the ball in front if he so chooses. He has to begin impacting this game. He is too much of a threat with the football to not have called his number really at any point yet this first half.
Changing the play. Deep in the play clock. He gets the snap. Rutgers a blitz. Navarro trying to escape. Gets to the outside. There's his legs. And he's still going. Down to the 33-yard line. Parker Navarro picks up a big gain of 28 yards.
And the Bobcat faithful are saying, there's the Parker we've been waiting to see. There's nothing there, so he gets to the outside. He is not your typical quarterback. He is not looking to go down. Boop, boop. Cut back inside, breaking a tackle of Jet Elad, and then goes down to the ground. He is not afraid of contact. He is always looking for extra yards.
Well, they need that as well. I mean, that, to your point, they need, when you've got that advantage, you have to use it. Tight end Williams back near the line. He had a touchdown earlier. Quick throw. That is caught. Ian Pugh, redshirt junior out of Oak Park, Illinois. Began his career with the Fighting Illini. Transferred last year to Ohio. Had a few catches. Going to get a lot more playing time this season.
Chase Hendricks is wide receiver 1, but Rutgers is really shadowing him with nickel Cam Miller. Cam Miller being the nickel, Chase Hendricks being the slot. It's just hard for him to get away, and he's locking him down so these other receivers for the Bobcats are starting to step up.
But running back in the backfield, Duncan Brun, sophomore from Germany, has the carry and a stiff arm. And Brun takes Moses Walker for a ride, another first down.
Physical. We asked this coach and staff, what can you tell us about Duncan Brun? He is physical. The lead returning running back, Sia Bangura, came back from Minnesota and took over that starting spot, but you can expect to see a ton of the German.
And he's part of the younger generation who has seen football come to Germany, the NFL playing some games. Michigan next year will take on Western Michigan in Germany as well. by Bruin again. Bounced off a couple of tackles. Picked up hard yards. Jordan Walker in there with Jabome to clean it up.
Credit to Bruin. He's getting stuck at the line of scrimmage. Both of these past 2 run plays, he's just shedding scarlet jerseys and falling forward for positive yards.
Picked up 4 on 2nd and 6. Ohio is in the red zone for the 2nd time in this opening half. Oh, struggled with that snap again, trying to get to the outside. Oh, changed directions. And just getting his shoestrings and still got out of there to pick up about 3. He's shifty and he's hard to find.
Twinkle toes is what I'm going to call him from here on out. Look how he almost gets through this. Change of direction, jump right through there, and an absolute shoestring, like you said, from Moses Walker. If Moses does not grab that loop of that string, that may have been 6.
And you wonder, too, if this is 4-down territory. Bobcats last year only went for it on 4th down 10 times. They're trailing by 2 scores midway part of the 2nd quarter here in the season opener. Navarro keeps it. He's got his man open. And for the 2nd time in the half, touchdown from a tight end. This time it's Jake Bruno on the receiving end, and Ohio with the answer.
Undisciplined eyes from the Rutgers safeties here. If your key is the tight end, you have to stick on him until you are positive it is a run play or he is not releasing. Watch the left side. You see safety Kaj Sanders get nosy, looking in the backfield. I get it. Parker Navarro's holding the football. I want eyes on him. Your responsibility is your responsibility, and you have to stick with it. And now the other safety, Jed Elad, seems to be in a little bit of stress.
Jed Elad, the training staff, looking at the safety. Began his career at Ohio in 2019. Well-traveled. Couple of different stops. Community college the last 2 years, and all Mountain West Conference performer at UNLV. A Rebels team that was led by Barry Odom, who is now in the Big Ten as the head coach of the Boilermakers.
As he flexes and twists that right hand, you hope he's able to shake off whatever's ailing him, because boy, do they need him back there.
Look at his right shoulder there.
Whenever your arm is out at impact, you just put your shoulder and your arm in such a vulnerable position. And again, all you can do is hope that it's not a serious situation. He's really taken a leadership role across that secondary as a key communicator.
Jason Horwitz, former All-Big Ten safety, Brock Vereen. Ellenbach on for his extra point. It is good. And so a drive response. Parker Navarro used his legs to keep it going, but he's finding his tight ends in the red zone. The Bobcats, the defending MAC champions, with an answer here in the opening half. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Stanley Steamer. Game day gets messy. Stanley Steamer brings the clean. And by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Now, sometimes the opener can be a little bit messy for the offense. That has not been the case today. We have seen each team have 3 drives. Scarlet Knights have scored on all 3 drives. And Ohio's had a pair of answers to respond to Rutgers' touchdowns with touchdowns of their own.
Credit to them. Momentum was on Rutgers' side. You considered if they were going to go in the tank, but no, they snap right back.
And Black's going to let that go into the end zone and come out to the 25-yard line. Saturday, Big Ten Tailgate is live from Maryland with all the festivities surrounding the Terps home opener. Then, countdown to kickoff brings you the latest from around the conference right before the action begins. It all starts Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. My partner Brock Vereen starts his Big Ten season here at Rutgers. You will be back in studio tomorrow, heading towards Chicago, right?
The lovely city of Chicago, my friend.
Looking forward to that. Great weekend continues when we are done here with the opener We head to Madison. The Badgers, Luke Fickell, trying to start the season off well. Rutgers begins to drive. And Antoine Raymond with a solid first down run. And they give him a full 10, and they'll move the chains.
Raymond gets most of his work done between the tackles. Here he finds a window, bouncing it to the outside. Cornerback Tank Pearson getting a mean stiff arm.
Wow, with all the
He does force him out of bounds, though.
Brock, with all the passing yards that Nathan Kaliakmanis has had here in the first, both running backs are over 5.5 yards a carry between Campbell and Raymond. This one's a big burst. Oh, Raymond into the secondary. Down to the 36-yard line. Antoine Raymond picks up 29 through the middle.
Untouched to the line of scrimmage is never a good sign, because once number 3 gets some momentum going, good luck as DJ Walker barely is able to get Antoine on the ground. Not a speedster by any means, but able to make the most of a wide open hole like that.
Kaliakmanis back to the air. It's behind his receiver, but a brilliant catch. Reaching behind Ian Strong. Kaliakmanis took a hit, hung in the pocket, and he is having a whale of a half. He is 9 of 13 for 148 yards.
Ian Strong able to get Michael Mack to turn his hips just enough to get that inside leverage as Athan takes a blow there, but stands tall in the pocket and delivers the football where it needs to be.
We talked to Kirk Shiraki yesterday, and he wants to see where he got better last year, took a step, and he said he's got to be even better this year. Again, small sample size. But he has been in rhythm. He has been on time. They get that Jayshon Benjamin. It's 1 tackle, cannot get out of the second. He picks up about 2.
The Kirk Shiraka offense by nature is very methodical. It's the 3-yard gains, it's the 5-yard gains. But what a debut so far as we're coming down the final minutes of this first half. This is as explosive as I've seen them, not just in a week 1, at any moment under Kirk Shiraka.
And again, in this era, remember, Ohio replaced the entire front of their defense. Some went with their coach Tim Albin to Charlotte, others places like here, other places in the Big Ten. This was a defense that last year was number 2 in the MAC, gave up just 300 yards a game. And they are getting gashed. Again, Benjamin through the middle. It's first and goal, Scarlet Knights.
Antoine Raymond, C.J. Campbell Jr., now it's Jayshon Benjamin, the speedster of the 3. Here showing some patience, finds that cutback and is able to use that speed. Good luck trying to find a bell cow out of these 3. They're all having their way so far.
His first and goal for an offense with 103 yards on the ground. Kaliakmanis with 2 touchdown passes already here in the half. He keeps it to the end zone. Touchdown number 3. Duff snatched it out of the air. Oh, it's a brilliant opening half for the Scarlet Knights. And they're back up 2 scores.
Footballs don't get placed more beautifully than this. Tell me how that throw could be any better. It's perfect. A great slant route on a very good cornerback in Tank Pearson, but KJ Duff is so tall at 6'6", he has such long arms. If you are not directly in front of him, he is able to catch the football.
Scarlet Knights are averaging over 9 yards a play. 4 drives, 4 scores. You wanted to see a step from Nathan Kaliakmanis in the opener, and they have seen that. KJ Duff Jr., his 4th grab, 2nd career touchdown. For a team that, you know, the schedule coming off back-to-back winning seasons. They had 4 Big Ten wins last year for the first time since joining the conference in 2014, and they will have that first conference game a Friday night against Iowa. They open with 4 straight home games, and then they'll hit the road against your alma mater.
Yes, they will. And once October starts, they begin facing the 13-win Big Ten teams from a year ago. All 3 of them end up on Rutgers' schedule. But if you know one thing about a Greg Schiano coach team, they ain't afraid of nobody.
Well, you can't schedule much harder than the last 2 games. Ohio State and Penn State. Penn State will be here Thanksgiving weekend. But they feel that their players are better. They feel that they've been recruiting better. They feel confident in the quarterback they have. And that has been on display. Scullion's kickoff. Dennis is going to field it at the 10. And he's taking it out. Iman Dennis out around the 25 with a late flag. Thrown in right there at the tail end of the play.
Very late flag from an official who was furthest away from the play.
Well, the only penalty we've had this game was a kickoff going out of bounds. So from an opener, from that perspective, pretty clean.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 0, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, you talked to Greg Schiano about why they don't return kickoffs more than they do. Rutgers last year only returned 3 kickoffs. The year before that, they returned 6, and he said it's because how often in college football do you get that, right? Mikael Williams, and now you're starting a drive inside your own 15-yard line.
And he just drills linebacker Austin Dean in the back. And you said, Jason, it's the risk reward.
Well, the pressure's back on Parker Navarro. They put together a drive on the ground. This is a solid start. It's a first down run, and C.A. Bangura with a solid hole over the left side. And the former Gopher back at his home in Ohio is now over 2,000 yards for his career with the Bobcats.
Bradley Weaver was there on the cutback, but arm tackles are not going to work on Bangura.
They go fast. That is batted in the air, almost picked off. That is caught by the offensive lineman, Nick Marinaro. We're going to have to look up his uncle's stats, how many interceptions he had as a linebacker at Michigan in the 90s. Crack staff is on that. Marinaro, though, the center. Look what I found.
That wasn't even a defensive lineman getting their hands up. That was 5'11" cornerback Jacoby Henderson with the heads-up play.
Now, his catch does go for a loss of 4. Again, stands tall, he's in short. Oh, he's sandwiched. Out of the backfield, Bangura, Jabome, and Moses Walker, the duo at linebacker. You know, when you get you ready for a season opener, you do your stats, all your prep work. I got to be honest, at no point in my career have I ever written down catches for an offensive lineman. Previous season, never.
You know what? It may have been a 4-yard loss. If I'm him, I catch that ball 10 times out of 10. You kidding me?
Great hands.
Been dreaming about that since Pop Warner.
Caroline gave us that report on the transfer from Dartmouth. We're going to have to go back and see how many catches he had for the Ivy League school as an all-conference center. 3rd down and 9. Ohio's 3 of 4. Navarro takes a shot. It's off for Darte's hands. Oh, and it falls to the turf. Elad is back on the field. Almost had an interception. And Ohio is going to have to punt it away with 3:28 to go in the first half.
And this is frustrating for Parker Navarro. That ball is delivered right where it needs to be. It goes right through the hands of Max Rodarte. It was a great route. He got great leverage to get inside the DB. Just needs to bring that ball in. And Jen Elad's thinking the same thing. I got to bring that interception in.
False start will stop this play.
Before the ball was snapped, false start. Offense number 3-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
Looking at the left side of our screen here, and that could have been called on 3 people.
Yeah.
The gunner was the first to move, but you had 2 guys in line that jumped as well.
Oh, it's a low snap, and it's blocked. In the end zone, recovered. Touchdown, Rutgers. Cam Miller scoops it up in the end zone. And special teams with a special play here in the first half.
The punt block unit at Rutgers has been feared forever, but we need to. His knee was on the ground there.
That might be,
Jason.
Was his knee down with his hands on the ball? Because if it was, if it was, that play is dead there.
Let's see if oh boy, it's worth a look, I think, but right now the officials are.
I don't think
letting Jay Patel set up. No. Nope. No possession. That is a pump block for a touchdown.
Oz Sanders, the sophomore, got in to block the punt. And what a half. Scarlet Knights have done it with offense. They've done it with special teams, which have been such a big part of the 17-year, two-part tenure for Greg Schiano. And Brian Smith's team's in a whole lot of trouble. Now, they get the ball and start the second half, but they got to do something with it here late in this first half.
You have to get a touchdown here. Here again, we see the pump block, and things just go from bad to worse. When it rains, it pours. You have a dropped third down pass. You have a false start on your first punt attempt, and then you have a debacle that turns into a special teams touchdown for Rutgers on your third. The pump block unit is something Rutgers takes so much pride in. You go back to the days of the McCourty twins, you were fearing that pump block. It's not punt return here, it's pump block. That's what they call it. They could care less about returning that football. They're coming for the football.
Well, Greg Schiano might have talked about Ohio and what type of opener this is, the difficulty that the Bobcats present. Right, 31 wins over the last 3 years for the defending MAC champions. The Rutgers is firing on all cylinders here in this first half. And that bounces in front of the goal line. That is a live football. And Dennis is gobbled up at the 5. Right on cue, it's the brother of the quarterback. Dino Kaliakman is on special teams.
Now, the case that Iman Dennis is making is saying, hey, I did the T. Doesn't that mean that we're going to consider this a touchback? No, it doesn't. The ball has to go out of the end zone.
Or you have to catch it.
Or you have to catch the football.
Yeah.
One or the other. It's clear here, as he's unfortunately getting yelled at by his special teams coordinator, you can't just make the T and let the ball bounce. That is an unconscionable error to put your offense in this situation with only 3:22 left.
So on the positive for Ohio, you have a chance here to end the half with a score. Although you're 95 yards away from the end zone and get the ball to start the second half. But on the negative, they have allowed 14 points in a hurry. And they're going to be back up inside the 5.
Offense number 5. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
That is Bangura, the running back. And they are right there in front of the student section as well.
And boy, is that student section loud. You can see Bangura with the forward lean. It's just so hard to hear. That student section is packed.
Nobody left early for the weekend, Labor Day weekend. They do give the handoff. Bangura cannot squirt beyond the initial line of scrimmage. All of this has changed because of special teams. Downstairs to Caroline.
Jason, here's a fun fact for you guys. Rutgers leads the nation with 11 blocked punts since 2022. And when we caught up with head coach Greg Schiano this week, he emphasized how big special teams is for this team. 2 periods every practice, they practice that, and he calls it the bridge to his team. They use a lot of starters.
Caroline's so important to him. He still runs it. That is something that he is in charge of. Couple more yards inside. And so now you got 3rd and 9, Brock, coming up, where you're looking for Ohio. 3 timeouts left for Rutgers. You might not get out of the half without allowing more points if you don't pick up this 3rd down.
And I'm surprised, with the 2-minute timeout still looming, why Rutgers did not take a timeout here. Get yourself as much time as possible for what could be the final series if you get the ball back. But the first thing is first, you got to get a stop here.
That's the 2-minute timeout, which is coming up. They do get the snap off. Navarro in his own end zone. That is a beautiful throw on the move and a first down. He rolls it outside. That is picked up. Caleb Gossett. And that is a massive throw on the move by Parker Navarro to take us to the 2-minute timeout. Rutgers' offense has been special, and the special teams has picked up from there. 17-point lead late in the first half. Now 17-point Rutgers lead coming up at the half. We'll send it back to our Chicago studios. Dave Repson, Howard Griffith. They'll break down this first half for the Scarlet Knights over the Bobcats, plus get you set for the nightcap here on Big Ten Network. Wisconsin hosting Miami of Ohio. Minnesota tonight also gets its season underway, home against Buffalo. But for Brian Smith, yes, he was the interim head coach in the bowl game. They beat Jacksonville State last year. He told us this week, look, I'm not nervous for my first stint as the head coach going into a season, but this is a huge moment here. Down 17. They will get the ball to start the second half. They've got to move the football. Rutgers 3 timeouts.
Massive third down conversion to keep hope alive. You have to get something on the scoreboard here.
Navarro just converted on that third down. Trying for Pugh, and he caught it. Inbounds. He kept a foot down beyond the 40. That was floated for 25 yards.
Jet Elad cuts underneath Ian Pugh. If you are going to cut in front of the receiver, you have to get a hand on that football. You are lucky he ran out of bounds there.
He definitely got that foot down inbounds, which also stops the clock as we're inside of the 2-minute timeout. On the move again to the other side, Hendricks has his 4th catch of the first half. He had 40 last year, the second leading receiver. Again, Parker Navarro, whole new offensive line on the right side. We've only seen him with really 1 or 2 designed runs. They have moved the football. This game is turned on special teams, but this drive began inside the 5-yard line.
And bing, bang, boom, they're here at midfield.
Plenty of time on the clock with 5. Navarro, they do option it. Bangura caught it behind him and has space. Bangura inside the 40, and he lowers the shoulder down to the 36. That is 17 more on the ground.
But a big mistake to not get out of bounds there. You have to get out of bounds there, but that doesn't take away from the great play. The speed option, Parker pitched that with 2 hands. He must not have had a firm grip on the football, but Bangura able to reach behind him and secure it.
Clock stops inside of 2 minutes to move the chains like the old college football. Oh, again on the move. He's got one-on-one, and he takes it. He's brought down by his old teammate, Bradley Weaver. He picks up 8. To your point about the clock, though, Brock, they have 2 timeouts. They do not want to give the football back to Rutgers. It's almost a good thing he didn't go out of bounds.
If they can keep this kind of momentum, getting 10 yards a pop, it may not be the worst thing. They are on fire right now, and Rutgers can't catch their breath.
Rutgers tried to bring the blitz. Navarro hung in the pocket. His receiver fell down. Hendricks looking for a flag with Cam Miller in defense, and he can't find one.
Anytime you see a wide receiver on the ground and a DB standing over him, it's kind of a guilty until proven innocent situation, but no laundry on the field. Officials saw it as a clean play.
Timeout taken. Navarro took a huge hit, too.
And I am shocked that is not a targeting call. That's not only lowering of the head, but it's a quarterback in a passing position. The contact is directly to his face mask.
Well, remember, 2 parts to different targetings, right? And it can be whistled down from our replay official who was up here in the booth, Mike Conlin, where they can take a look at it with the replay command center in Rosemont. Now we will see. They have not signaled them to whistle that yet to at least take a look for targeting, which they can put on.
I'm pretty
surprised. There was certainly forcible contact in the head or neck area of a defenseless player. And he might have had forcible contact with the crown of the helmet, too.
I saw crown, and here we go.
Yeah, now they're going to stop
now
it.
we are waving the play dead.
The previous play is under review for potential targeting.
And looks like Bradley Weaver knows why.
Yeah. No, I don't want to speculate what he is talking at here because he is pointing at the crown of his helmet.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, that crown, that top part of your helmet, it does make contact with his face mask, but he doesn't low out. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Just there at the last second. And one, to Parker Navarro's credit, he stands and takes that blow and delivered a ball, but need some clarity here.
Let's bring our rules analyst from Los Angeles, Steve Strimling. Steve, obviously 2 different types of targeting, crown of the helmet or defenseless player, head or neck area. Did you see an indicator? How do you see this play?
Yeah, there is 2 types. He is defenseless. When we looked at the replays, we didn't think it was crown of the helmet. He is leading, but is the forcible contact. There's some contact to the upper body and some incidental contact. I don't know if there's enough to put on targeting on this play, but it's a good stop to look at.
So not necessarily enough, and it was not called targeting on the field. And I guess, Steve, remember the other part this year, changed the language. This is not a play in terms of overturned or stands. New language this year is upheld. But you don't think there's enough here to add targeting to a play that was not called on the field?
No, we're gonna get
the review. Hold on, Steve. We're going to get the answer.
Targeting on the play, 3rd down.
And
all right, so that's what you said, not enough.
Right, and replay officiates targeting regardless of what's called on the field. They go through every aspect, and it's really their judgment in the command center and in the stadium in the replay.
Steve, thank you very much. Steve Strimling with us all throughout the night. Any rules questions we have for the new season here in 2025, no targeting on Weaver. It is a 3rd down, though, for Ohio. They are 4 of 6 tonight on 3rd down. And this would be a massive conversion if they can pick it up. Scarlet Knights show blitz. Here they come. Design run. Navarro, 1st down. Gets to the outside. And he tiptoes out of bounds. We'll see where they spot him. They'll mark him at the 13. But 15 for Parker Navarro, and they stop the clock with a 1st down.
This is where he shines, whether it's in the red zone or knocking on the door of the red zone. The quarterback run, also known as the +1 run, because you gain an extra blocker since the quarterback is holding the football. And if you get Parker Navarro some space, he will always make the most of it.
Over 1,000 yards on the ground last year. He has 54 on 5 carries today. Ohio as a team, 130 rushing yards here in the half. Keep it on the ground. Bangura is banged around. Jordan Walker, Moses Walker. No timeout here. Remember, Rutgers has 2, Ohio also 2, but they do not want to score that early. Now, it is not goal to go just yet. It's 2nd down.
They want to take their sweet time and make sure they are the last ones with the football in this half.
I was looking over at the sideline. They are doing that. They are taking their sweet time. Now, you do want to make sure you get the plays off. They option to the right, Bangura, and he does not get a ton, maybe a yard or 2. Walker out there again. Jabome 2. Now, that did stop the clock. You got 16 seconds here, Brock. You got 3rd down and 2 timeouts, so you conceivably have 3 or 4 plays anyway, and you're at the 8-yard line.
You can do as much as you want here. Playbook is wide open. I expect a situation here where Parker Navarro is able to call his own number if need be. We keep saying it. Once you get into the red zone, he is thinking tuck the ball and run. But if he sees something downfield, that is always option number 1.
Remember, this is a drive after a disastrous special team play that began inside the 5 and a full start.
False start. Offense number 55. 5-yard penalty. Makes 3rd down.
That is the right tackle, Jordan Jones.
Top of your screen here, and I mean, about 3 times now, someone has moved far before the center has even thought about snapping the football. And credit to the Rutgers crowd here that are nice and loud for them.
Fourth penalty on the Bobcats, so 3rd down and 5, now 3rd down and 10. Down by 17 here on the road. Navarro lobs to the corner, jump ball, and it's too high. So they don't cap it off. Rodney Harris, the 6'2" receiver, the intended receiver. But Brock, again, they are going to set up for a field goal attempt on a drive with 3.5 minutes to go in the half, with 3rd down and 10 on their own 5. And if they get points out of this and end the half, that is a massive win for the Ohio offense to end the last 3.5 minutes.
The old Bill Belichick 2-for-1 special. You have to get points at the end of the half and be the last team with a real chance to have your offense out there if you get the ball to start the second half. Credit to cornerback Jacoby Henderson there defending that fade route. He got so high up in the air and extended that arm, perfectly timed it, all with his back to the football. Phenomenal play by Henderson.
Well, Rutgers here has had a phenomenal first half. Offensively, special teams. I'm sure some things Greg Schiano would want to clean up defensively. All in front of new athletic director Kelly Zinn, who was out in the parking lot, some tailgates before the game. Been on the job about a month, coming over from LSU. She's going to join us early in the second half, so looking forward to that. This is about to be the first career field goal attempt for David Dellenbach. Transfer from UCLA from 30 yards on the right hash. And he's good. So Dellenbach, the Utah native, capitalized on a solid drive for Ohio to march down the field and get back within 2 scores to get the ball back to start the second half.
And I want to keep giving credit to Brian Smith and how he has coached this team. There have been multiple times now in this first half that Ohio had every reason to fold, saying we've lost the momentum, we're making mistakes, we're our own worst enemy, but they just keep swinging back. Now, there are so many things that they need to clean up immediately in that locker room at halftime, but they're staying in the game.
Well, you mentioned Brian Smith. He was named the interim coach to take over for Tim Albin after he left to be the head coach in Charlotte. They won the Cure Bowl to finish off 7 in a row, which, by the way, heading into this season is tied for the longest active win streak in all of the FBS. He said could not be happier for his guys. He brought back much of the offense. And by the way, it has looked like that. 246 yards in this first half. And had it not been for a blocked punt recovered by Cam Miller for a Rutgers touchdown, you're talking about maybe a 1-score game.
This team has hope. They have faith. They're going to go in there and say, hey, it's not what Rutgers is doing, it's what we are doing. But if you're Rutgers, you're saying we are keeping our foot on the gas. They cannot stop us offensively. We just need to keep doing what we're doing.
So Rutgers tries to return this. Black goes under it at the 3, and he is coming out with a kickoff return. And he's gobbled up inside the 20. Solid special teams by the visitors from Athens, Ohio. Down there to make the tackle. A solid play by Kamani DeBrow. And look, maybe Ethan Kaliakmanis will take a knee, which really, they haven't had any negative plays. That would be the first one here in the half.
This is about as good of a half of football as you can ask for week 1. So many questions. You're still curious about the cohesion. No more questions need to be answered for Ethan in this offense. They just need to come out here in the second half and keep it going.
Kaliakmanis, 10 of 14, 154 yards and a pair of touchdowns. The offense on the ground averaging 7 yards a carry. Touchdown early from Antoine Raymond, and they will go into the locker room leading 31-17 in a solid opener, particularly for the offense. Caroline Hendershot, she's downstairs with Greg Schiano.
Coach, you're up 2 scores going into half. What's that one thing you're emphasizing to the team in the locker room right now?
Well, we have to play better defense. You know, we have him in situations we're just not getting off the field. Now, part of that, he's a very good player, but we need to get off the field.
Now, I know you love special teams. You emphasized that this week. What did you say to Cam Miller and Kaj Sanders after that blocked punt?
That was a good play. You're not kidding. And we thought we had an opportunity to do it, and it worked. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Caroline, Coach, thank you very much. 31-17. His offense averaged almost 9 yards a play. Halftime here in Piscataway. Coming up, back to Dave Revson, Howard Griffith in Chicago for the Halftime Report. because we all need a robot dog to help everyone out. 31-17 as we get set for the start of the third quarter. A lot of great tailgating to start the day. Rutgers offensively scored on every drive, and Greg Schiano leading them out of the tunnel. The defense will be on the field first here to start this second half. Welcome you back into the booth. Jason Horwitz, Brock Vereen, Caroline Hendershot is down on the field, but we are happy to be joined by the new athletic director here at Rutgers, Kelly Zinn, who you have not been on the job that long. The reception has been a lot of fun here. Have that robot dog been in the office trying to help you with NIL the last couple of weeks?
It hasn't. I could maybe use that a little bit.
When you got to campus, coming here from LSU the last 3 years, first few things you wanted to take on when you got to Rutgers?
Yeah, you know, immediately, obviously, you're getting to understand who you're working with, the coaches, the staff, spending some time with the athletes. But very quickly, you start to dive into everything that's going to make this a really successful program. And so I've been spending a lot of time on third-party NIL, revenue sharing, getting everything in a great spot within the department, capital projects, you name it, the plate's full. But it's just been a really incredible 3 weeks.
And before you officially decided to come on board, what was it about Rutgers that made it such an interesting opportunity?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so much here to celebrate, right? Being in the Big Ten Conference is fantastic, particularly in today's collegiate landscape. But the big draw for me was obviously President Tate. And the success we've been able to have previously. I was just thrilled to get the opportunity to join him again. And he and I are going to come together and create some really great things for Rutgers.
As Ohio gets the ball here to start the third quarter, they had that finishing drive. They went 90 yards and added a field goal. Dennis will bring it out to the 25 on the touchback. You know, pregame as Rutgers was getting off the bus. It's the season opener, first game to kick off the Big Ten season. And who's there to meet Greg Schiano on the bus? That's you.
That's me, my guy.
But he's been here on different stints and so much a part of this program, this school. I got to assume that is a wealth of knowledge as you take over as athletic director.
Yeah, I mean, he's been incredible since day one. You know, so helpful in helping me to understand everything, both the history and what's going on right now, and just could not be happier to have him here.
Kelly, we know you have a ton planned for the future, but how can fans support that vision?
Well, I mean, exactly what you're seeing here tonight, right? We want folks showing up and being loud and proud for this team. I've been just absolutely thrilled with the students and the turnout that we're seeing, but a great reception from the fans and donors in response to everything that's transpired since the announcement. And I want them to come out and be supportive of this. So whether you've been a longtime fan and continue that support or you're brand new, we're going to welcome you here to Rutgers.
Kelly's in, new AD here at Rutgers with us in the booth as we start the third. Now, speaking of fans, you had tweeted like, hey, where are you tailgating? I will join you. You got a lot of good responses to that today.
Yeah, we did. I was busy, and so I thought I was going to spend a little time on the boardwalk, and instead spent most of my day at the tailgates with a lot of great fans, and had my first pork roll. But yeah, it was a great reception from everyone. Beautiful day. Just couldn't have dialed it up better.
If you had to join one of the teams here, which team at Rutgers could best use your services? I don't see any shoulder pads with you.
Yeah, you know, that would be a tough one. I'm pretty sure that the talent level here exceeds what I'm capable of. But I'd be willing to suit up and do a few things with a number of them.
Navarro across midfield. Hendricks, so 3 plays. And Ohio is already into Rutgers territory. Kelly, last thing you want to tell the Rutgers fans, right? You are new to this program. It's an established one with the Greg Schiano. Last mark you want to leave.
Yeah, just that we're thrilled to be here. I believe our best years are ahead of us, and just so thrilled to have everybody a part of it.
Kelly, thank you so much. Enjoy the second half, and we'll see you down the road.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. You're the best.
Ball starts. Offense number 7. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Kelly's in, the new director of athletics here at Rutgers as Ohio has started. And Brock Vereen, we talked about this at the end of the first half. You called it the Bill Belichick. You played in New England with the Patriots. But how do you finish the first half? Do you score and do you come out and score? They got a field goal when it looked like they were going to be blown out of this game. And just like that, they're already 3 plays into Rutgers territory.
A lot of times you see a tweaked version of the opening 12-play script, especially if it worked in the first quarter, which it did, and boy, does Parker Navarro have them rolling right now.
C.A. Bangura, he has 15 carries here in this ball game for 87 yards. Brian Smith was happy to get him back. They had a 1,000-yard back last year in Anthony Tyus, who was on the Seattle Seahawks camp during training camp, to go with Parker Navarro. So they had a pair of 1,000-yard rushers last year at Ohio for the first time in school history. On 2nd and 13, Navarro back to the air, and he's chased out of the pocket. And he does the smart thing and tosses it into the Rutgers bench.
So far, just about every time that Navarro has escaped the pocket, it's been to his left. And what Bradley Weaver needs to do, as he's usually lined up on that right side, is hold that contained. Yes, he is a righty. Yes, it is weird that his go-to is to go left. But if you don't hold that contained, he will continue to escape the pocket and potentially make magic happen.
127 yards. He does it 54 yards on the ground. And they have a brand new kicker in David Dellenbach. Navarro, dangerous throw, and it floats there near a first down. He sat in the pocket. Hendricks caught it, and he's right near the marker. That looked like it just hung in the air forever.
That is a confident throw. Look how close Cam Miller gets to getting a fingertip on that football. That is a quarterback who trusts his arm. Not a ton of zip on the ball, but he knew there was enough to complete that pass.
They did not give him the first, and Brian Smith, I think they want a timeout. They want a measurement here. They do not think this was a good spot, and Brian Smith is 15 yards away from the sideline screaming that they didn't measure that for a better spot.
And in regards to the play call in, it was clear that that was a 1st and 10 play call. And coach is saying, hold on now, we don't have the 4th and 1 ready to go. We'll see here again. You see the mark to gain.
Well, it's where is the ball when he hits the ground, right? They need to be at the 33. Did the ball get to the 33? He's down there.
He is short. You see that left knee go down before he rolls backwards. If he was able to keep his knees off the ground just a fraction of a second longer, maybe they would have given him that first. I don't know if I could change the decision on the field here.
No, I think they have the right spot. That's a great job by the crew. So this is a huge play, right? You come out of the locker room, you get some good plays. You're 4th down and 1. They are not a team that's going to load the box. They have to have it here on 4th down 2 touchdowns. Navarro out of the gun. They roll to the right. He's got Hendricks. He's got the first down. His go-to receiver has his 7th catch of the night, and they pick up on 4th and 1.
And what you see here is just a natural pick route. Wide out Max Rodarte sits right in front of nickelback Cam Miller, and that is a legal screen. Chase Hendricks able to get to the flat untouched, uncovered for an easy first down.
Now, Greg Schiano told Caroline before halftime that he has to see his defense play better. That has not happened to open this second half. And a dart over the middle. Caleb Gossett has his 2nd catch of the ball game. And they got enough for another first down.
And now is when you start reading body language, because this Rutgers defense looks tired, and unfortunately for them, they've entered the territory where Parker Navarro wants to call his own number. So much of his success comes in the red zone.
He's a confident quarterback. It is a confident offense, and they have shown that all night here on the road. The hole opens up. Navarro takes off. He's got space inside the 10. Touchdown, Ohio. Now a late flag came in from the back of the end zone, but if it holds, it's a 17-yard touchdown run. And the Bobcats players are saying it's all against Rutgers.
First face mask. Defense number 9. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the ensuing kickoff. The result of the play is a touchdown.
There needs to be a QB spy from here on out. For the entirety of the first quarter, Parker Navarro was not running a lot. It is clear he wants to take this game in his hands. You have to make an adjustment now.
9-play, 75-yard drive. The extra point is good. And they end the half with a near 90-yard drive. They start the half with a 75-yard drive. And the Bobcats, once down 17, are back within 7. But they haven't stopped Rutgers either. And the Scarlet Knights offense back on the field next. Well, the birthplace of college football has given us a heck of an opener to start. Yes, college football began on Saturday in Ireland, but the Big Ten's 18 teams starting here tonight. And Rutgers in a tough one against the defending MAC champions. Parker Navarro, we heard so much about him, the second-team All-MAC quarterback coming into this game, and he has not disappointed, Brock Green.
Slow start for him, which was surprising, but somewhere between the end of the first quarter and the beginning of the second, he found his true self as that kickoff goes right out of bounds.
It does go out of bounds, so good field position coming up here for Rutgers. That's another special teams mistake. Ohio's been burnt by those. Remember, a blocked punt for a touchdown.
But you know what? It's beyond special teams. Everything that they're messing up on is fundamental stuff. It's snapping the football. It's catching the snap. It's the mesh point with your quarterback and your running back. It's kicking the ball out of bounds. It's false starts, which are too many to count. It's the simple things right now with the Bobcats.
And remember, too, that penalty that was on the touchdown run was enforced on the kickoff. So not only, you know, and
coach is looking for some clarity right now.
well, that's the other part of this conversation. If we go back for a second, was that kickoff actually, though, from midfield? It was supposed to be.
Kicking team, by rule, the ball was placed at the 20-yard line. First down, Rutgers.
Okay, so it was at midfield.
Okay.
Right, and that's why it's out at the 20-yard line. So they were kicking from midfield, and that's, you know, he wants to pin that on the corner, and he wants them to get down there and pin him deep, but he just didn't do it.
It's a great opportunity to pin that returner with really no help, but just an unfortunate situation by Delapap.
Right, which is why it's at the 20. So Callahan back to work. Again, he has been in the clean pocket most of the night. He goes low. And KJ Duff Jr. continuing his best night as a Scarlet Knight. He's got 5 grabs. And with that gain, out across 50 yards on the night.
Ohio defensive coordinator John Hauser loves his man coverage. He has a great secondary. He trusts them. But if you are not getting home with the pressure that you are sending, you are asking too much out of your DBs to cover for 4 or 5 seconds.
And Callahan has picked him apart. 11 of 15 on the night, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he's working again. In strong up high in front of Pearson. Another first down throw. So to your point, if you are John Hauser, the Bobcats defensive coordinator, what you just said, how are you playing this half differently?
I go to more zone. Now, the scary thing is that touchdown that they gave up to DT Sheffield was a blown coverage. So maybe it's a situation where, hey, our communication back there is not where it needs to be, so I have to go man, and maybe that's why they're in a bind right now.
The touchdown you talked about, a 54-yard strike. That was the first play of a drive. Rutgers has looked the same to start the second half. Strong run into Ohio territory for Antoine Raymond, the sophomore, who has 7 carries now for 70 yards and a touchdown. And remember, this is a Rutgers offense that ended last season with 4 consecutive games with 30 points or more. They are now across 30 points or more for 5 consecutive games for the first time in 17 years. To the ground, and Ohio gobbled that up. Michael Molnar with a huge play, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
One thing to note is how much slower the offensive tempo is now for Rutgers, as you see Antoine Raymond with just nowhere to go. Molnar in the backfield before he even gets the football.
And right on cue, they tried to go fast, but this is about to be just the 2nd penalty of the night, and the 1st on the offense. Well, the flag was thrown. And our referee looked like he was about to call false start, but then a couple different ones came in.
One official did signal
Before the ball was snapped. False start. Offense number 8. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
It's very dangerous to change tempo mid-series. This was clearly a much slower tempo, and from second to third down, they tried to giddy up a little bit, and clearly there was some confusion up front, and that's how you find yourself in third and forever.
So third down. Scarlet Knights didn't have a ton of third downs in the first half, but they also didn't convert. Now they did pick up 3 fourth downs. Here comes the blitz. Kaliak Manis out of the pocket, dumps it, he's got strong. And one-on-one, the tackle, Jalen Thomason around the ankles. The Scarlet Knights went for it on fourth down 3 times in the first half, but this is about to be 4th and 7.
And this is that clear-out route. This is now the 3rd time we've seen it. Really, anytime Rutgers has found themselves in 3rd and long, this is what they do. The difference, nickel Jalen Thomason stays home and is able to bring down the receiver before the first down is threatened.
So Jacob Anderson, the sophomore from Melbourne, Australia, on to punt for the first time this season. He will try and pin Ohio back deep. Max Rodarte back as the punt returner. And he did not get the snap off in time. All that motion, all that moving, and they're back him up 5 yards.
Defensive back Timmy Ward
Delay
seemed
game.
to be struggling.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
On where to line up. You started off on the left side, and the personal protector said, no, you're supposed to be on the right side. And eventually you just ran out of time.
And Ohio has answered the call, down 17. They almost got in there. Anderson gets it off. Rodarte the fair catch, and he makes it at the 10-yard line. So a punt of 44, but Ohio's defense, Casey Seegers and company, get its first stop of the night. Now the offense back out there with a chance to tie. Well, still to come when we are done here from Rutgers. The doubleheader continues. Wisconsin at home against Miami of Ohio. Next on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Lisa Byington, Anthony Herron, Melanie Ricks. They're ready to jump around at Camp Randall to get things off there. Miami, the team that Ohio beat to win the MAC championship last December. Their first MAC title since 1968. Here they're giving Rutgers all they can handle. Inside handoff, not a lot of room, but Parker Navarro and this offense have been humming here against Rutgers.
As good as advertised. Confident, had so many reasons to get smaller, meaning the stadium's loud, we're getting smacked around, nothing's working, we have a million penalties. But steady Eddie, we talked about his poise, and he has shown that.
2 touchdowns through the air. He is 71 yards rushing and a touchdown as well. He's in pressure off his back foot. Open man. Hendricks in space. And if he throws that a little bit farther, he might lead him for a touchdown. There was nobody back there. And Hendricks is coming up limping.
Cam Miller in one-on-one coverage all night. And if Parker Navarro is able to plant that foot and deliver a good ball, Chase Hendricks is still running. And you saw him kind of stutter a little bit. Watch before he catches this football. Right there. And he kind of reaches for that foot, and then he goes down. But the issue here, Jace, is Parker Navarro's not a tall guy. And if a defensive lineman gets their hand up like that, he can't plant that back foot and can't deliver what should have been a touchdown. And you just hope that Chase Hendricks is able to come back in this game.
Well, again, this underthrown ball that he has delivered all night long.
He certainly has. I'll keep saying it. Took him a couple series to warm up, but he has been on fire since there. You see the touchdown to Mason Williams, and then he starts calling his own number.
Keep it on the ground. Chase Hendricks on the sideline. They're looking at his lower body. He has a career high tonight with 8 catches. And he is now in the tent on the Bobcats sideline. That would be a massive loss as they are trying to come back in this game.
He's their F wide receiver, their slot wide receiver. And in a Scott Isperning offense, the slot is the star. They're going to need him.
Navarro keeps it, gets outside of Weaver, and he got outside Sanders, and Navarro inside the 40. He is a nightmare for this Rutgers defense. That is 22 more on the ground.
You have to keep outside contained. Safety Kaj Sanders comes downhill. Watch for the DB number 5. You have Bradley Weaver inside of you, giving Chase credit to Bradley Weaver for chasing down Parker Navarro 20 yards downfield. Know where your help is. Hold your leverage.
Now, Parker Navarro had 100 yards rushing in 4 of their final 5 games last year. He has 93 yards on the ground. And remember, he didn't have a single yard rushing in the first quarter. This has all been in the last quarter and a half. This time through the air for Rodarte, makes the grab in traffic. At the 15-yard line, 24 more. And the Bobcats trying to pull even when they were down by 17.
Chase Hendricks goes to the sideline. Max Rodarte says, hey, throw it up into triple coverage. I'll come down with it. What a grab. Little cross-country route. Fantastic throw. Able to bring it in.
A 75-yard touchdown drive to start the half. Broom on the ground. Duncan Brune picks up about 3, and now Hendricks back on the field, and that is a massive sign for Ohio as he trots back out there for the offense.
And as we get a line shift for the defensive line for Rutgers, they know this is the red zone. What does that mean? Parker Navarro's legs. This is where he likes to call his zone number. He's done it multiple times tonight. He wants to do it again.
You don't get 13, 18 rushing touchdowns a season ago without getting a lot of opportunities to do that. He had a 17-yard touchdown run to start this half. And he has his legs, but he's got a man open. Touchdown, Ohio! He's so dangerous outside. Jake Bruno has his 2nd touchdown of the night. And the Bobcats a point away from tying this game up.
This is video game football. Zone read mesh, got the RPO to the outside. I'm going to run the ball. Nope. I'm going to come out here and throw the football to Jake Bruno, who benefits from 2 Rutgers defenders getting their legs tied up. One falls to the ground, and Bruno walks in, and to make matters worse, cornerback Jacoby Henderson, who's made some plays, some pass defense tonight, is down with injury in the end zone.
Now, this Rutgers offense has given up 416 yards. And Henderson helped up. He's going to walk back to the sideline. But to your point about the video game aspect of this, I mean, people talk about the whoops, there you go, the Patrick, but Navarro's so dangerous to run.
As a defensive back, you can't be too mad at your defensive line. You're sitting back there thinking, get him on the ground. I can't cover forever. And they're saying, look at this dude. You try and get him on the ground. He has been phenomenal. And the Rutgers defensive line, despite all these line shifts, they're trying to get fresh bodies out there. They have so many guys up, ready to rotate. They're exhausted. They're tired of chasing them.
So David Dellenbach on to try and tie this game up. And Rutgers blocked the punt and recovered it in the end zone for a touchdown. The Scarlet Knights had a 17-point lead. And since that point, the Bobcats have scored 17 unanswered.
Parker Navarro, Mr. Do-It-All. Giving Rutgers everything they can handle.
Parker Navarro, as advertised, 219 yards through the air, 93 33 on the ground, 4 total touchdowns. And the all-MAC quarterback has had a night here on the road, and he has brought the Bobcats down from 17 to tie this up.
Ethan Kaliak-Manis has been able to play stress-free all game long. But for the first time tonight, there will be a whole lot on his shoulders.
Fair catch, Ben Black caught to the 25-yard line. Downstairs, Caroline Hendershot on the Rutgers sideline.
Jason, this sideline, definitely a different vibe and atmosphere than it was at the beginning of this third quarter. I would say that last touchdown, you could really feel the air get sucked out of this group. And right now we have Schiano in the middle of this group, kind of coaching everyone up again before they take the field. And I would say they're not down completely, but it's definitely a different energy than at the start.
Yeah, no question, Carolina. You know, Greg Schiano, his team, the energy, the volume in this stadium. When they went up 31-14, a blocked punt recovered by Cam Miller in the end zone, right in front of the students. But then that end of the second quarter, when Ohio drove 90 yards, converted a 3rd and 10 inside their own 10. And then started the third quarter with a 75-yard touchdown drive, has really changed things. And he said to Caroline going into the locker room, Brock, this defense has to keep up its own end. And he is trying to get them to do that right now.
Despite how many points they were up at the half, he said it, the defense needs to play better. This is what he was hopefully not anticipating happening. But here they sit with Parker Navarro rolling.
They were in a game like this to end last season in the Rate Bowl against Kansas State. Kaliak-Manis kept it. Wrong decision. Jalen Thomason on top of him. And it'll be 3rd down and 5.
Ethan able to run the football, but there's just too many white jerseys back there. And a huge credit to DB Jalen Thomason for forcing Ethan to make the wrong decision.
And Brock, as well as Rutgers' offense has played tonight, they have not converted a 3rd down. Now, they are 0 of 4 on 3rd down. Cannot stress enough, they converted 3 4th downs. But they didn't convert the last. Ohio comes with just 4. Kaliak-Manis pulls it down, and he does not get there. Stopped inside the 35-yard line. A big-time hit, Casey Seegers. And now a decision for Greg Schiano. The momentum is all on the Ohio sideline. It's 4th and 2 inside your own 35.
You see running back Jay-Sean Benjamin there at the bottom of the screen. Ethan had him if he was going to look that way, but when you feel that pocket collapsing, you start getting tunnel vision. Offense is staying on the field, and I love this call. I do. This offensive line has consistently gotten pushed. You need them here now more than ever. 1 yard is what you're telling them. We need 1 yard.
4th down conversions tonight. They need 1. Ohio brings everyone. They've got the 1st down. Raymond leaned forward. He picked up 4. And they will keep the football on a massive play.
Massive run there by Antoine Raymond. This offensive line will continue to get pushed. Yes, the offense as a whole has slowed down, but that push has not slowed down. Now that you have a fresh set of downs that Schiano is not impressed at all, I want to see KJ Duff. I want to see Ian Strong. I want to see something downfield now.
Strong has 5 catches. He is at the top of the screen. Good blitz pickup. He goes for Strong. Wide open. Tank Pearson got him around the ankles, but right on cue. You wanted the junior, you got Strong into Ohio territory.
Fantastic route. Whenever there is that much separation, watch how he's able to create, boom. If I can get that cornerback to turn his hips, I know that my quarterback is going to be confident with the window I'm going to create for him. Number 9 saying 1st down.
Kaliak-Manis has been on target. He has only completed passes to 3 different receivers. But that's nitpicking. 15 of 19, and he has been pinpoint all night. Back to the ground. Thomason spins him around. And Raymond picks up maybe 1. Back downstairs to Caroline.
Jason, Ian Strong earned a spot on Athlon Sports preseason Big Ten team because of his success last season, but it's his experience and his leadership that he's actually bringing to this wide receiver room. In terms of the most tenured receiver on this team because of games played at Rutgers, he leads that group with 25 games. So he's bringing that to this group and hopefully helps them make some more moves down the field.
And it's a talented group, without a question. Big hole again. C.J. Campbell bursts through. That's 15 more on the ground, which will bring us to the end of the third quarter. Rutgers knew it was a tough opener to start a season, and they have gotten everything possible from Parker Navarro and the Bobcats. Tied at 31 in the opener. First game of the season here on Big Ten Network. When we are done with football tonight, the Big Show delivers highlights, post-game interviews, complete analysis from all three Big Ten teams in action here on this Thursday. Tonight after football on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. We have seen offensive fireworks from the get-go. Ethan Kaliak-Manis and the Scarlet Knights scored 24 in the second quarter, but outscored 14-0 in the third, and we are tied here to begin the fourth. With a 1st and 10 on the ground, Campbell, modeled up by Seegers. After about two, Jason Horwitz, Brock Vereen, Caroline Hendershot down on the field. We knew Rutgers felt good about its offense coming into this season with a Kaliak-Manis again. Ohio knew with its quarterback, Parker Navarro, they thought he could deliver, and both have been true.
It's a new day as far as Ohio is concerned. We have a new head coach, but that success that we have had for the past 3 years is going to continue, and this Rutgers offense slowed down here in the third quarter, but by all means have had a phenomenal day, but they have to finish strong.
You mentioned the tempo. They go slow here to start this fourth as well. Jack Freeze chops down Campbell. His first game as a Scarlet Knight, transfer from FAU. 8 carries, 44 yards. Rutgers tonight 126 on the ground at 5 yards a carry.
A tight end is going to leave the field, and Colin Weber, and D.T. Sheffield is going to come on the field. I see Rutgers anticipating man coverage here. Ohio's going to bring some coverage. If you can get Ethan some time, there has to be a matchup down there that you can exploit.
In strong, one-on-one coverage at the bottom of the screen. He rolls. He's got the tight end Fletcher foot in the ground. He needs the 11, and he's got the first down. Extra effort from Kenny Fletcher, coming off this season-ending injury last year, and he's back. He's got his second grab.
And he just leaks out here to the flat. Ethan could have waited as some things looked like they were going to open downfield, but I like his decision. Let's just get this first. My man is open right now. I'm going to get it to him, and I'm going to trust him to break a tackle for a first.
Check out his first catch of the night. Second target for Fletcher. Season-ending injury last October against Wisconsin in his first year as a tight end. Here comes the blitz on first down. They run into it. And that's something that Ohio didn't do the entire first half, Brock. They didn't stop any of the runs up the middle. Different story here in the second half.
And I tell you what they're doing, a lot of cross dogs, meaning both inside linebackers are just blitzing. They are clogging up A-gaps. They are forcing the running backs to bounce. Now, the Rutgers running backs are still having some success, but to your point, the Ohio defense looks twice as stout as they did in the first half.
With their defensive coordinator, John Hauser, holdover from the staff. He was with Tim Albin. Coach Brian Smith said, got to keep John Hauser, and they did. Second down and 9. Kaliak-Manis on the ground. Broken tackle. Raymond pushing. And he's a couple of yards short of the goal line. Now they can't get a first down. So it will be third down and about 1 from the 3-yard line.
Ohio fit the run fit perfectly. They just didn't count on Antoine Raymond breaking all those tackles. Violent runner, and similar to who he's replacing, Kyle Monungai, getting stronger as the game goes on.
Raymond had a touchdown in the opening drive. Can he cap off this one here to start the fourth? They're going to have to go back 5 yards.
Penalty marker down.
False start. Offense number 12, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
That is the tight end, Kenny Fletcher.
Looking at the right side of the line of scrimmage here, closest to the camera, and that flinch is enough.
Well, number 2, there's the emphasis now. The defense cannot,
defensive stem.
Right, cannot imitate offensive snaps or any movements that aren't quote-unquote natural. You cannot tell that from here.
That was definitely toeing the line a little bit. It's obviously naturally, there's some gray area there.
So after the penalty, back it up 3rd and 7. We'll see if Kaliakmanis goes to the air. He does. To the 10 zone. And it's just in front. Sheffield, the intended receiver. And Rutgers on 4th and 7 will send out Jay Patel in the kicking unit.
And you're going to see Sheffield crossing the field. Watch Tank Pearson, cornerback number 7, closing that window. And even though the ball is a little too far out in front of DT Sheffield, the fact that Tank Pearson closed that window was what made Ethan not able to really stand in there and deliver that ball when he wanted to. He had to throw it a little early. Earlier
in the ball game, Patel broke the school record with his 14th consecutive make. This from 26 yards after he hit from 23. And Patel puts it through to put Rutgers back in front. They cap off a 13-play drive with 3, but they've got to get a stop on the other side. Saturday, it's a huge slate of action featuring Purdue, Maryland, 7th-ranked Oregon, USC, and Washington all on the field, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. It all gets going with kickoff at noon Eastern with those two at slate all the way through the night, coast to coast. So nice. It's 2 years in a row, Brock Vereen, the coast to coast, all the windows, football all day long here on Big Ten Network.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Excited for that Oregon matchup. Dante Moore, the new man under center over there at Oregon.
Don't forget about Big Ten Tailgate live from Maryland to get your Saturday all kicked off. It's a short kickoff. Iman Dennis, the Michigan transfer, almost squirts through. And he is out to the 24-yard line. Now, Rutgers led this game 31-14 with about 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, but they have not had a defensive answer for Parker Navarro here in this ball game. He is at 312 yards of total offense and 3 touchdowns through the air and 1 on the ground.
Defensively, you just have to stop the bleeding. It's a big pass breakup. It's a sack. It could even be a big hit after a positive gain. They just need a reason to celebrate. They haven't celebrated together in a long time.
They start with a run to Duncan Brune. And the German for a couple of yards.
Eric O'Neal on the tackle. He followed current Rutgers co-DC Zach Sparber from James Madison, a dynamic defense they had a year ago.
And again, they're placing so many players on the defense. Tyrone Powell, Wesley Bailey. Last year they thought they'd have Mo Toure, right? Injured before the season. This year now at Miami. Hendricks again into the secondary, out to the 39, 15 more. 9 catches for 116 yards on a career night for Chase Hendricks.
Just too much space. Kaj Sanders has him man-to-man. Look how much space is between him and wide receiver Chase Hendricks. You have to tighten that down. Trust your speed. Trust he's not going to blow by you, because they'll take that every play.
Came off the field. Remember, they needed some attention on the last drive. He came up hobbling a little bit, so he is back on the sidelines here on 1st and 10. Inside of 10 minutes to go in what has turned out to be a whale of an opener. Bruin carries 1 defender into Moses Walker. Double-digit tackles tonight for the linebacker from Staten Island. It'll be 2nd and long.
Cam Miller didn't make the tackle, but he sets the edge here. They run a split zone look. Bruin was looking to bounce it. Cam Miller tightens it down so that his linebackers can get there and make the play. Great job by the nickel.
He led him into Moses Walker, career high 12 tackles tonight.
Phenomenal game.
Remember, last year it was Jabome who had 14 tackles in the opener against Howard. And he announced his arrival to the Rutgers defense Those two guys leading the middle on second and long. Navarro flips it forward to the tight end. Oh, and that is a massive tackle by Jabome, because Mason Williams had a lot of space if he got free.
Oh, that's a fun play call. They're making it look like Navarro's going to the outside, hits him with a delayed shovel pass, almost like a tight end screen. And boy, if Jabome does not make that tackle. Mason Williams is a big guy. I don't know if he's scoring there, but he's getting a whole lot more yards.
Well, they did say they want to find more ways to get him the football. He had a touchdown grab on a conventional play in the first quarter, and our false start coming. Ohio's saying this is on Rutgers.
Might be disconcerting signals.
Delay a game. Defense, number 2, used a clapping signal. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Well, and that's what we were talking about a few minutes ago, right? The emphasis there, you cannot have disconcerting signals that simulate this snap.
Very left side of your screen. He's trying to get the attention of his teammate, but it does not matter. You cannot clap because quarterbacks and offenses reserve the right of the clapping motion.
And that gives Ohio a first down with 8-10 and counting in the ballgame. Navarro settles down the field, and he overshoots the intended receiver, Rodarte. Henderson with great coverage. It'll be second and long.
Happy to see him out there looking healthy. He went down last quarter in the back of the end zone. Out there healthy, looking spry. Glue next to Max Rodarte. Rodarte, a little bit of hand fight, trying to get separation. That's teach tape right there. Great defense.
Rutgers answered the 17 unanswered with a 26-yard Jay Patel field goal. Ohio trying to respond and tie or take the lead. Navarro kept it himself with the shimmy. Sanders grabbed it for a gain of 3. An open field tackle that might have saved a first down.
And credit to Cobb Sanders. The past 2 times he's had Navarro in the open field, he's missed that tackle. This time, he holds contained, and he makes the play.
Talked about it earlier, just one of 3 returning starters for Rutgers on defense.
Third down, Rutgers looking to bring pressure, but we know Navarro can always find a way out of that pressure. They got to get him on the ground.
5 of 9 on third down. Navarro, and he's gobbled up. Moses Walker on a career game, brought him for a loss, and it's 4th down.
Just a massive game by Walker. Massive, as Coach Shiano saying, defensive safe. Defensive safe, meaning they're going to stay on the field for this punt. Trying to set up a little QB power. There is nowhere to go. Moses Walker beats the pullers to the punch and gets him on the ground.
Moses Walker, 14 tackles, career night, 2 tackles for a loss. None bigger than that. Now remember, they had a problem. Nick Hemmer had a problem with the long snap. Magnus Haynes got this one back and gets it off. And a fair catch called for and made by Sheffield. Is this the tackle that saves the night for Rutgers? They have the ball, they have the lead. 6:41 to go, and it's Moses Walker parting the offensive line with the stop. Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Last time Rutgers and Ohio got together, Mohamed Sanu, a school record 16 catches. He went on to break the Big East record with 115 before being a 3rd-round draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. Ian Strong not quite there tonight. He is the leading receiver with 6. This offense, though, 15 of 20 for Ethan Kaliak-Menace for 222 yards. And they are trying to put together a 6-minute drive, maybe to put away Ohio.
That ball is going to stay on the ground.
It does, and the Bobcats sell out, force a gain of 1. And you were saying in the break, if you're Ohio on this drive, you do have your 2 timeouts, you have the 2-minute timeout, but you've got to sell out against the ground game.
You have to force Rutgers to throw the football. No help on the back end. You need all hands on deck in the box. You cannot let Rutgers continue to get these guaranteed 3-4 yard gains because you're not going to get the ball back before the game's over. Sell out to stop the run. You tell your DBs you're on your own.
Plenty of time. They're taking all their time on the play clock. Kaliak-Manis, they make him throw to the air, and Strong has his 7th catch of the night. And it's a first down.
Fantastic throw and catch. And if your defensive coordinator, John Hauser, that's what you tell your defensive backs. You are on your own. Now, Strong able to eat up a little bit of that cushion, but if you're Tank Pearson, you need to tighten that down. All game long, every pass has been caught in front of him. They're not going to run past you. Credit to KJ Duff and Ian Strong. They're fantastic receivers. Speed is not their name of the game. Tighten up that coverage if you want to get a stop.
Kaliak-Manis with play action. He dumps it short. First catch of the season, Colin Weber. And he's upended by DJ Walker. But a solid pickup by Weber out to the 36, 7 yards on first down. And if you're Ohio, you're down 3. The clock is your enemy. 2 timeouts, 2-minute timeout as well.
Not a lot of room for error. As you can tell, Rutgers' pace has slowed to a crawl. They're going to bleed this play clock at the very least. Even if they have to give the ball back, they don't want to do it before the 2-minute timeout.
Well, and this is part of that, too, game management. You got a first-time head coach, right? And Brian Smith has thought these things through. He's been part of it, but now it's all on him. When do you use those timeouts? They get the stop here on 2nd down. And it'll be 3rd down and short coming up for Rutgers as we dip inside of 4.5 minutes to go in what has been a whale of an opener.
If you talk to a first-time head coach after that first year or their second year, they always say the same thing. Clock management is the most difficult transition when you call the shots on timeouts. There's no perfect way to do it. There's no perfect strategy. But as that clock keeps winding down, we'll see if they want to hold on to their 2, hoping that they get the football back.
Now, Ohio has been great tonight on 3rd down. Rutgers is 1 of 7. Problem is Rutgers is 4 for 4 on 4th down. Kaliak-Manis to throw, freeze in his face, and he dumps it short. Now, he was outside the pocket, and there's a late flag from the secondary. The question is, though, he was outside the pocket, but did the ball get back to the line of scrimmage?
That's exactly what the officials are discussing, I believe.
Well, the flag came from the secondary, so this is separate.
Defense, 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now, that is an automatic first down. He did not give the number, but I want to go back and see if that ball got back to the line of scrimmage.
I thought it was necessary of a discussion. Now, the holding penalty clearly caught the officials' attention, but Ethan may have got away with something there. First down either way.
And they snapped it. And they need to get this to the 40. Excuse me, to the 37. Now we'll go back and revisit that. First down carry. Oh, he breaks through. TJ Kimber into the secondary. And finally brought down at the 31-yard line. A massive run of 23.
Look at the Scarlet Seas. Boom. Pop wide open once he sees that cutback. Breaks 1 tackle, almost breaks 2. Fantastic patience there. He could have got greedy and lowered his head and tried to grind out 2 or 3 yards, but he showed that patience. He trusted the cutback and gets a massive gain for them.
Kaliak-Manis kept the long mesh and he's upended. DJ Walker. Ohio still has not elected to take that 2nd timeout. Now they have to hold Rutgers to a field goal. Don't forget, Miami and Wisconsin, they will kick it off at 9:15 Eastern, 6:15 Pacific. About 17 minutes from now, Lisa Byington, Anthony Herron, Melanie Ricks waiting to jump around in Camp Randall. The other team that was in the MAC championship game last season.
I was going to say, no slouches here on week 1. 2 MAC championship contenders to kick the Big Ten season off. Why not?
And again, 9:15 Eastern, where they will kick that off. Deep in the play clock. They snap it with 1. Kaliakman is forced to keep it, and he's brought down. Molnar makes the tackle. And Ohio is going to let this tick down to the 2-minute timeout. Not burning their timeout on this end. But that is a massive tackle for loss, because you're about to have 3rd down and 14, and now with an opportunity to force a field goal attempt. A huge play coming up on the other side of the 2-minute timeout. Ohio needs a stop to get the ball back. Out of the 2-minute timeout with a game-ending possible 3rd down coming up as Ethan Kaliakmanis, our power performance sponsored by Stanley Steamer. 17 of 22, 242, a very, very efficient night, 77%. But he has to come up with a play here. 3rd down and 15 coming up. 2-minute timeout. They are just on the edge of Jay Patel's career long. In a game where they lead by 3, they keep it on the ground. Raymond inside the 30. They pick up about 7 yards, and now Ohio uses its 2nd timeout to preserve as much time left here at the end of this ball game.
And I see that play call as, let's get Jay Patel the shortest field goal we possibly can. This can't be 4-down territory when you're only up a field goal, the way that this Ohio offense looks.
He has hit 15 in a row. He's got a big kick coming up on the other side of this break. Well, you can only hope the next one has as much action as this one. When we are done, the doubleheader continues. Wisconsin squares off against Miami. Next coming up here on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Rutgers has sent the offense back out on the field for a 4th and 7. Leading by 3. This would have been a 46-yard field goal for Jay Patel, but they sent Kaliakmanis back on the field. If they snap it, they do. To the air. First down, and maybe a ball game-ending grab by Sheffield. The Scarlet Knights 5 for 5 on 4th down tonight. And I think, Brock, they can run this clock out with Ohio having 1 timeout left.
Gutsy. That is a gutsy call. And who else but DT Sheffield? His first chance to impact the game, he drops the football. But who do they trust to put this game away? That same number 0 who catches a perfect pass from Ethan, who is now a couple of knees away from being 1-0.
Yeah, Rutgers did the math here. They'll have to take a couple of knees. Kaliakmanis is waiting. Now he drops to a knee. We'll see if Brian Smith elects to use his final timeout. He does. So Ohio is now out of timeouts with 1:14 to go. All they can hope for, though, is a botched snap. That's all they can hope for. Greg Schiano's team has fought a tough one. But if they handle a snap cleanly, they're going to beat Ohio. We'll step aside.
Dave Repson, Howard Griffith with you. How about the guts of the Scarlet Knights?
If you're talking about 4th and 7, trust your quarterback, complete it. They run the game out. That's the outstanding job today.
Pretty impressive. So Rutgers on the verge of a season-opening win. Remember, this is game 1 of 2 for us here on the Big Ten Network. Billy Edwards, the Maryland transfer, getting set to lead Wisconsin against Miami of Ohio. They will kick it off about 6 minutes from now. Jason?
All right, Dave, thank you very much. With 1:14 to go, Parker Navarro and the Ohio offense stellar tonight, but they're going to come up just short. Again, they are out of timeouts. Rutgers will have to knee it 2 more times to escape Ohio with a hard-fought victory. Kaliakmanis drops 1, and he will do another one. But here's the play that ended our Quick Clips, sponsored by Sport Clips. Want another tongue twister? DT. to the ground. On 4th down, Brock, the 5th time tonight they went for it. That was 4th and 7. Instead of kicking a 46-yard field goal to go up by 6, Greg Schiano rolled the dice, and Athene Kalagman has delivered as he has all night long.
And rolling the dice is not something that Greg Schiano has historically done. This is, I've said it all night, a new era of Rutgers football. Back-to-back 7-win seasons. The floor has been raised. Now let's see how high the ceiling can go.
So Greg Schiano and his staff will breathe a sigh of relief. They knock off Ohio to win an 8th straight season opening game. Time for the 2nd longest streak in school history. But they'll have a lot of work to do before Miami, after playing Wisconsin tonight, comes here next week.
It's going to be tough. But you know what? Coach Schiano wouldn't have it any other way. He said, some people want some tune-up games week 1. We are going to know exactly where we stand at the end of week 1. And that's what you get when you have a tough non-conference schedule.
He knew Parker Navarro would be a challenge, but they survive and win 34-31 here at home. Coming up here on the Big Ten Network, football doubleheader continues. Wisconsin against Miami. Now for Brock Farine, Caroline Hendershot, and our crew, I'm Jason Horowitz. Thanks for watching. Rutgers to 1-0. We send it to Camp Randall. Lisa Byington, take it away.
Is a presentation of the Big Ten Conference.